Caitlin, and welcome back to the Lit Review. Today, we're going to be spending some time going over the Trick-or-Treatathon, which I am co-captaining once again this October. So if this is your first time hearing about the Trick-or-Treatathon, it is a readathon that is themed around fall and or Halloween. The quick rundown for Trick-or-Treatathon is that there are 5 teams, Team Scary, Team Fall, Team Candy, Team Monster, and of course, Team Magic. It mostly takes place on Discord, so I will make sure to link that below. I will also be linking all of the Instagrams of my fellow co-captains so that you can check them out, because that's where the majority of them post regularly. So I'll make sure that I link everybody down below. I won't be spending too much time in this video going through all the intricacies of the readathon, because I think the Discord helps you like onboard to that really well. So I'm going to focus up on my team, Team Magic, and give you some book recommendations to help you with this readathon. I'm once again co-captaining with the amazing Heather from Belle's Library. She does have a YouTube channel as well, so I will also link her down below. Also shout out our amazing creator of this readathon. She is not a co-captain, but she is our host, and that is Megan, who I will also link Instagram down below. Megan puts all of her time and energy into this amazing readathon, as well as one of her other Discord channels. So she's kind of the one that keeps it all going. She's our goddess of Discord. She keeps the Discord running. And I just like big shout out and big thank you for bringing us together again, for letting me co-captain again. But the Trick-or-Treatathon is a bingo board style readathon with lots of prompts. And you obviously like complete a book prompt to hopefully get a bingo. But the new thing this year is we're actually introducing a 2-board system. So we're gonna have like a smaller board for those of you who understandably maybe don't read like 30+ books in 1 month. So it'll be a 3x3 or a 9 square total, and then there will be the more traditional 5x5 board. So the only rule that is really important for you to know about the 2 boards is you can't play the 2 boards simultaneously. So you can play 2 boards, but you have to kind of start with one and finish it before you can move on to the other. And with both boards, one of the things you can do, you can either use the pre-made boards, or you can make your own, because there are like 40 prompts for the whole readathon, and you can kind of make your own board system. There are a lot more other intricacies about rules and how many points go for what, but I'm gonna let that sit in the Discord. So if you decide to join us, which I hope you do, then you can find out more there. We'll be taking on new teammates until I think like the first full week of October. So if this readathon sounds interesting to you, like highly recommend joining. It's a lot of fun. It's very silly. There's things like trivia and scavenger hunts and photo challenges too, but that all lives in the Discord below. For today though, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take you through the big board, the 5x5 board for Team Magic, the pre-made one, so that you can see like some recommendations for books that would fit these prompts. I will not be going into summaries of these books to the best of my ability. I'm gonna give you 1 to 2 recommendations for each prompt. Some of them are gonna be ones that I might be trying to read during the readathon, so they're recommendations in the sense of like, hey, I'm also going to read this. And then some are ones that I have read and enjoyed and would happily pass on to you. So here is the Team Magic board. I'll make sure to include a little thing here. I'm gonna be going from like top left to right and then go down that way. So we're gonna do that in that order instead of numerical order. But this is the Team Magic board. And again, you can absolutely make your own board if that's more your speed. Even if you're not playing for Team Magic this year, there are a lot of prompts that duplicate across the boards, so you can still get some good recommendations. Or if this readathon just isn't your jam, hopefully you can still get some good recommendations for this fall or atmospheric witchy season. The first prompt number 1, again in that top left corner, October. Read a book published in the month of October. So for that, I have 2 recommendations for you. One I have physically, but do not know where it is. And that is Sea Creatures Prefer Redheads by Brienne Gillen. This is like a very tiny little novella, perfect for this readathon, and was published last October. And then the one that I don't have because it's not published yet, and that's Madam by Sarah Kate. That is being published this October. So I'm hoping to be able to read that one. That's going to be my personal pick for this prompt. Moving right along, like moving 1 square over, still in row number 1. 23, the prompt is titled Monster Mash. And for that one, you need to read a book that has a non-human main character or just has monsters present in the story. And specifically, there's been some questions about like what classifies a non-human in the Discord. So we're looking for like vampires, fae, aliens, demons, like very clearly not humans. So like witches, probably not, but you know, we have options. So for this, I would recommend either Luxuria by Colette Rhodes, because one of the main characters that you do get a POV in is a shade demon. And then the one that I have not read but will be trying out for this prompt is The Siren's Mutiny by Jessica S. Taylor. Then prompt 13 is Chill in the Air. So read a book with a wintry setting. And a couple of options for you. One is 'Tis the Season for Revenge by Morgan Elizabeth. This book did really well in certain circles last year. Starts on Halloween night and goes into a chilly, wintry setting. So I actually thought it would be a really good pick for this readathon. And then I don't have the first one handy, but literally like any of the Ice Planet Barbarian series. So this is, I think, book 3 or book 4, Barbarian Lover by Ruby Dixon. So not Hoth is definitely a wintry setting. Prompt 31 is called Souls of the Damned. So this is kind of one of those either or prompts. You can do a couple of different things to fit it. Oh, hi Gizmo. One is it's like read a book that features reincarnation, or read a book that has the word soul in the title. And that's how I am going to interpret this prompt. The book I will be reading for this prompt, I don't have a lot in this category, but A Soul to Keep by Opal Rain. Monster romance. I'm super intimidated by this book because it's big, and that's a very specific looking creature. Prompt number 4 is maybe one of my favorite prompts this year because I love a good reread, and it's called Memory Lane. So obviously read a book that you have read before, or like read an old favorite and enjoy a cozy treat. So I can't really tell you what your favorite is, but I can tell you one of the things I will be rereading for this readathon, and that is Her Halloween Treat by Tiffany Rice. It's a Harlequin Presents like really tiny, and then I will probably be enjoying a pumpkin spice latte, or maybe some pumpkin bread, but something with pumpkins. So that's my answer here. Then we're gonna go one row down. So row number 2, start with the left hand again. So prompt number 10 is Mystery Candy, and that is one where you have to kind of like read a random book on your TBR. So again, I can't really recommend something at random to you, but I can tell you that if you like number your TBR, I'll be your random number generator. Read the 13th book on your TBR. There's your random pick. Then number 26 is Bat Wings. So read a character that has wings of some kind. It doesn't have to be bat wings specifically, but a winged main character. So a couple of options for this. One is Titan by Gillian Graves, another monster romance, but this is a like gargoyle romance. So one of the main characters most definitely has wings. The one I'll probably be reading is Sanctuary of Kings by Catherine Moon. This is the 3rd book in a series. And I believe one of the main characters that you get a POV for is a griffin. So this is what I'm gonna do. Number 5 is Prankster, and that one encourages you to read a banned book, which I really love. So I have a couple of options for you on that one. The first is The Color Purple by Alice Walker, one of my favorite classics, and also still a frequently banned book, which is frustrating because it's very good. And then a more recently banned title that I also highly recommend and has the benefit of being a graphic novel is Genderqueer by Maya Kobabe. And this is also a memoir, so it's kind of got like the nonfiction component too, but I read this year and really loved it. Prompt number 34 is You're a Monster. And in that one, you have to read a book with the villain's point of view. So there are a couple of options for you here. I have 2, one that I've read before, one that I'm gonna try to read. Any book in the series would do, but the first book in the series is Dark Lover by J.R. Ward. It's a vampire romance, but throughout the series, or at least part of the main Black Dagger Brotherhood series, you get multiple chapters with an antagonist or a villain's point of view. So this would totally count. Like, it doesn't have to be the only POV, it just has to be like a couple of chapters worth of a villain's point of view. Then the one I haven't read yet, but will probably try to pick up for this readathon is the recent release of Assistant to the Villain by Hannah Nicole Mayer. This one has been popular all over TikTok and does have the villain's POV at some point, though you are primarily in the head of, well, the assistant. Excited to check this one out. All right, moving right along, prompt number 29 is Double Trouble, and that is to read a book with twins. And so I'm only going to give you one recommendation for this, in part because I have some stuff to explain about the readathon, but I still highly recommend this book. and that is How Moon Fuentes Fell in Love with the Universe by Raquel Vasquez Gilliland. This is one of my favorite books of the year. I read it earlier this year and it blew me away. So the main character is a twin. You also meet her twin and interact with her twin a lot in this book. But why I'm going to take a moment and just recommend this one to you is each of the teams in this readathon have a trick or a treat. So when you complete the trick prompt, you get to like do something else kind of fun within the readathon. So this book is one of my favorites. And it would count for Team Magic's trick. And our trick, if you're on Team Magic, is to read a book that is mostly purple or read a book with magical realism elements. And this also has magical realism in it. So either way, it will get you through the Team Magic trick. And then once you have completed the trick, you can only use this once, but the treat is that you can make any book you read fit any prompt. So if you have like this one bingo square that you're just like, I don't have anything that fits for it. If you're on Team Magic, you can use your trick to gain the treat. So recommend that not only as an amazing book, but this would be super helpful if you were on Team Magic. All right, row number 3. The first on row number 3 is prompt number 19. Looks like murder. I love the title of that prompt. But it's just to read a book that features a murder. If you want a romance option for this, Slave to Sensation by Nalini Singh features like a series of kidnappings and murders. And then the one that I haven't read, but I'm going to be trying is An Elderly Lady Must Not Be Crossed by Helene Tursten. This is technically book 2, but you can kind of read it as a standalone, but it's a translated work. But an elderly lady who may not be killing people. Prompt number 14 is another one of those prompts that has like a lot of options for what you can do. But prompt number 14 is called Calm Your Nerves. And everything in this prompt has to do with tea. So it either needs to feature tea magic, so the magic system revolving around tea. It has to have a teapot on the cover, not a coffee pot, not a teacup, a teapot, very specific. And have the actual word tea somewhere in the title. So no sneak in the word tea as part of like a compound word, like just the word tea. The best recommendation I can give for you, not just because it's quick and easy, but because it's also so wholesome and adorable, is The Tea Dragon Society by Kay O'Neill. I love their work so much. The art's really beautiful. Anything from, I believe, that original trilogy would work. There might be more works in it than that at this point. I can't remember. But I will be either rereading The Tea Dragon Society or reading one of the other books in that series for this prompt. Then you get a free space, very traditional bingo board element, the free space. So a couple of ways you can handle that. You can either just let it ride and it's a free space. You don't have to do anything for it. There's also a feature in the readathon where you can do like a bonus book. So a book that isn't a prompt on your board, but you still want it to kind of like count for points because it is like a slightly competitive little readathon situation. A bonus book, you get like, I think 10 points for it. I think for completing it, you don't necessarily get any of the other point prompts. But you could slap that into your free space if you really wanted to cover the whole board. Then we have prompt 15 titled Coven. And Coven, you either need to read a book with sisters or read a book that has the found family trope. And a book that has both is The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches by Sangu Mandana. I read this last year for the readathon. Thought it was very cute. I believe it might even be one of Heather's favorites for the readathon, which, got some cat fluff. Hazards of being a cat parent. And then we have prompt 22, which is Haunted House. So for this one, it's another either or. You can either do a haunted house or a haunted forest. And so depending on which of those you're looking for, I know it's a very popular recommendation, has been for years, but it's still one of my favorites for the haunted house. And that is Mexican Gothic by Silvia Moreno Garcia. Literally I still think about that book all the time. And then if you want more of like a haunted forest or like a haunted kind of like jungle space, I think Hafsa Faisal's We Hunt the Flame would work because there is both a mysterious forest where people like never come back out of. And then she also goes to an island where there's like a lot of like jungle, forest, lots of monsters or demons in that one too. So I think, you know, just haunted forest and or jungle would work. Love that book, by the way. All right, then the next row down, I think row number 4 on our big magic board, 35, festival food. Love this prompt too. So we just have to read a book with food on the cover, and there are some really good ones. So one that I read earlier this year and really enjoyed, it's another graphic novel that's very fun, and that's The Princess and the Grilled Cheese by Dea Muniz. And obviously there's a giant grilled cheese on the cover, and it's super heckin' cute. And then the one I know I'll be reading this year is The Heartbreak Bakery by A.R. Capetta. So that one has a bunch of like cute little food on it that hopefully you can see on the cover here. Then we have prompt 33, party music. So for this one, you have to either read a book that has like music as part of its magic system, or read a book with a musician as one of the main characters. So for that, I'm going to highly recommend a book that was my favorite from August, and that is Kiss the Girl by Zoraida Cordova. I will link my wrap-up video for this so you can hear me rave all about it, but I adored this, and both of the main characters in this are musicians. This next prompt is actually kind of hard for me, and that is number 9, To the Upside Down, which is to read a book with portal fantasy. So I love fantasy books, but I don't read a lot of portal fantasies. It's not one of the subgenres that like really gets me. So I was looking through the books that I have read and could recommend, and I think the only one that like really stands out is the book Neverwhere by Neil Gaiman. And then we have prompt number 20, Flirt with Danger, read a romance. I have too many recommendations for this, but I'll try to limit myself to 2 here. So I really picked ones that I think would be like kind of thematically appropriate, and that is first, the one I have read, That Time I Got Drunk and Saved a Demon by Kimberly Lemming. This is the first in the series, but any of the books in the series would absolutely work for this and probably work for multiple other prompts. And then the one I might be trying to read for this prompt is a recent release called My Roommate is a Vampire by Jenna Levine. I love this cover so much, and yeah, looking forward to it. Ooh, another kind of tricky one for me is the last one on this 4th row. That's prompt number 12. And that's Sugar Skull, to read a middle grade book. I don't read a ton of middle grade personally, but one of the ones that I have read that I really enjoyed and I recommend it every year, sorry not sorry about it, and that's Fake Blood by Whitney Garter. It has a lot of fun vampire references, so it's like one of the things I always want to reread during the season, and it is middle grade appropriate. All right, finishing this, we're gonna do the 5th row, that bottom row of our Team Magic board. And that starts us off with 2, which is just called Cozy. So read a book with cozy vibes. And a lot of us might have slightly different definitions of what fits for cozy, but I think what I would recommend is either Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldree is the like ultimate hype cozy fantasy from the last couple of years. I read it for the first time this year and adored it. But what I will probably be reading for this readathon is Garlic and the Witch by Brie Paulson. So this is book 2 in a little like graphic novel series. You can start also with Garlic and the Vampire, which is super duper cozy and cute. But this will be, I think, my pick for cozy vibes because it's very cozy and aesthetic. Prompt number 30 is Writing on the Wall, and that is to read a nonfiction. So I have one core recommendation. I think you could read any type of nonfiction, especially if you're looking for a bit of a palate cleanser for this. But the one that feels kind of thematically appropriate to me is Smoke Gets in Your Eyes by Caitlin Doty. It's a really fun read, and I also have listened to it on audiobook, and the audiobook is fantastic. Prompt 37 is Things to Hide. So basically read a book that has the authors using a pen name. And I think you could probably fit most books into this, to be honest with you. A lot of authors, whether we're aware of it or not. One that I know for sure uses a pen name is Olivia Blake. So for me, what I'm going to be trying to read for this prompt is Masters of Death, because it's a recent release. It looks really, really cool. Then we have prompt number 28, and that is Hellscape. So in this one, you have to read a book with demons in it, or with a hell type setting. So my option for that is How Not to Date a Demon by Lana Cole. It's a monster romance clearly featuring a demon protagonist. or love interest. We're gonna give this a go. I've never read this, but we're gonna try it. Final prompt, and that is number 3, cobwebs. So read a book with actual cobwebs on the thing, or it has spider in the title. I don't have a lot, it turns out, in my repertoire with either cobwebs or spider in the title. So I think the one that makes sense is another middle grade classic, Charlotte's Web by E.B. White. Definitely has a spider web on it. Okay, so I know that was a lot. That was a lot of recommendations. That was a lot of information, but I am so excited to be taking part in the Trick or Treatathon once again this year, especially as a co-captain for Team Magic. I really love this readathon. I love all the prompts that come with it. It really gets me in the mood for like the whole season, even though obviously you can see out my back window here. It's very green and lush where I live. There's nothing like leaf changing, so I get to like get all my feelings through this readathon. It's great. So hopefully you found a couple of books that spark some interest for you for this season, even if you're not participating with us. But you can, of course, still sign up for the readathon. The Discord link will be in the description box. Regardless of whether or not you end up on Team Magic, I hope you join us and have a really fun time. It is a really like community-oriented thing. There's a lot of community activity. So if you're also just looking for some people to read with during this time of year, then we're a great crew to come join up with. So hopefully we'll see you around, but if not, thank you for spending time with me. I hope you are having a fantastic reading day or night, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye. Oh, no. Hold on, girl, now wait just a minute. I've got something to say, you should hear it. Oh, I'm happy to make time for your feelings, but you have to admit